Welcome to Ascended Warrior, Soul Codes for a Shifting World. This is your sacred space to awaken, align, and rise in your purpose. So let's begin. Hello again. Welcome back. Today I'm doing an oracle card reading on the war in Ukraine between Ukraine and Russia. This is another event that has been really alive in the consciousness of the world for several years now. Even before the war began, the aggression of Russia was one that created a lot of fear in Eastern Europe. It was one they talked about a lot. I know certainly in military circles, you would hear other countries essentially asking for help. What do they do if Russia decides to become aggressive? So as the third part of the series that we're doing on war consciousness and how the spiritual role that it plays for the ascension of the planet and the ascension of humans. So today we're going to be diving into the energy of Ukraine. Now, I've already set the intention. I've already set my sacred circle. Today I'm going to be using the Rumi Oracle cards. I love all things Alana Fairchild. Her images really speak to me when I do this. So while I was shuffling, one card already popped out. I've got my phone set up over here on the side, so you'll be able to see all the cards. Let's dive in. So the first card to pop out, even before I finished shuffling, was this card here. It's called the Cloak of Christ. And there's a lot of higher energy here. Hoping that you can see that card okay. It's very dark outside colors. Black, in fact, with this violet on the inside of that, and blues and indigos moving all the way to white, the color of source. So what I'm hearing for this card, this Cloak of Christ, is this being incarnated here. It actually it feels like Mother Mary, cloaked in white light. The darkness and the energy is drifting off of her too, but the inside at her core is this beautiful white energy, and she's holding darkness at bay. The white light protecting her, even though it is getting filters of these violet colors, is not allowing the darkness to creep in. It is a part of her, though. It's not some foreign entity. The darkness is part of human creation, being kept at bay by her higher self, the Cloak of Christ. One of the things that a lot of spiritual groups talk about is the Christ consciousness grid. Now, whether you believe in Jesus Christ as the Son of God, or Jesus Christ as the prophet, or as an ascended master, someone whose soul had ascended and come back to earth to serve, the Christ consciousness is this beautiful golden grid around the atmosphere of earth. It's a grid that was put in place by that incarnation, and it allows souls, both incarnated and uncarnated, out of body. It allows them to connect to higher consciousness, to Christ consciousness. It's like a cleaner version of collective consciousness. When you tap into that, you're tapping into the collective consciousness, but it's the higher selves of the collective. Instead of tapping into the collective consciousness of 3D humans, you're connecting to this golden grid energy of those humans' souls, higher selves. So that is what this feels like, this Cloak of Christ, connecting into the Christ consciousness and grounding into the energy that is dark and heavy and human, and allowing that cloak to help penetrate the darkness. So because that card popped out, we had to honor it immediately. And then I'll get more context on where that fits too. So where Ukraine is now. So this energy here, absolutely beautiful card with these deep blues connecting through with this yellow energy of the solar plexus, blue being in the color of the throat chakra, speaking truth. What does this card mean for Ukraine? Those are the colors of Ukraine. Okay, so you could see there's two sets of forces going against each other head to head. And these sources are actually a lot more evenly powered than the world thinks. The world, certainly in the US, I know it was the conversation that Ukraine would never be able to hold against Russia. Russia was a world power. And that has just proved not true in many different ways. These two powers are evenly matched. They're also in the same part of their evolutionary circle. So they're within the same evolutionary sphere. While we think of Russia as the aggressors and Ukraine as the defenders, which they are as far as land goes, their energy, if you look at a country as something that can ascend and grow and evolve, their countries are in the same evolutionary space. So the fact that they're going head to head at this time is going to be really important for their countries to break free of that step that they're on. They're very much, it's an archaic part of the evolutionary cycle in the sense of physical violence being used to take what you want. Not to say that any of the countries have really gotten past this, because we all have that inside of us, but it's very much at the forefront of theirs, that duality we always talk about, us versus them, right versus wrong, really much the narrative of duality. You can see the duality here is actually mirrored. They are mirror images of each other. And in between them, this beautiful golden light, which actually kind of connects pretty beautifully to that card beneath, this beautiful golden light is trying to penetrate these two forces and break them apart. And it's beautifully symbolic that it came out in Ukraine's colors as well. So you can see the energy of above coming down here and really breaking the barrier of human consciousness. It is darker on the side. So on the fringes of these societies where, they're worried about surviving, it is harder to find time to seek your spiritual truth when you are worried about dying. That is just a fact of the human cycle. So the fringes of these communities are stuck in that cycle of survival, fight or flight. But there are groups that are coming towards the center. You can see the buildup both in the very core of both energies and along the fringes, who are saying enough. Their energy is becoming more light. They are starting to speak more truth on both sides. And ironically, their truth is the same. They are mirror images of each other. So those in Russia who are awakening and those in Ukraine who are awakening are saying the same things. This is wrong. This is not who we are. This is not who we want to be. We are not willing to die or kill for power. This is not the reality of our existence. It's not the reason that we come here to evolve. And this energy here Oh, it's a being. I didn't see this beautiful being. If you can see the being here. And it definitely feels connected to the Christ consciousness as well, although this is separate. This is more feminine energy. I feel Mary Magdalene, Mother Mary. This is pure energy, a light being not in body, many light beings, sorry, I'm being corrected by spirit, standing below the surface of these areas, below the surface of the contested land, and just beaming light up, breaking up the particles of this thick matter from the inside in order to awaken the souls on both sides that are willing to and ready to awaken. And as that energy, you can see it's still got a thin line where it's cutting between the two forces, showing the separation, showing that they don't have to mirror each other. So the mirror is no longer touching. It's got this beautiful light in between it, which will continue to grow as this light gains traction and as it's supported. So where it is this evolutionary circle that these two countries are in, and you can see the circles around it, which are the other countries that have gotten involved, also mirroring each other on the outsides, the world powers that have gotten involved in this on both sides to back kind of begrudging allies as far as political powers go. Neither side appears to have true backing in the sense of brothers in arms, that kind of backing. They are being supported, but it's for whoever's supporting them, it's for their own reasons. It's not to support the message on the 3D level of what these two countries are doing. This bottom layer with the light, this is the outside. This is like the higher support. Still got the darkness on the side. It's creating like a vortex. It's pulling darkness out, transmuting it in earth, and sending light back up. So you can see the light, the darkness being pulled down here, and then transmuting down in earth and getting pushed back up. This beautiful cycle of that vortex energy. I told you it looks like a donut. Pulling it down, transmuting it, and pushing it back up. So the fact that these two countries are mirrors of each other is really fascinating. It puts the 3D in context, but also the soul and the spiritual path that these two countries are on. They are in step with each other as they're moving forward. Everything is completely even. It is symmetrical on both sides of this battle. So let's see what cards we're getting here. So how do we break this up? How do we support this? So we've got more of the Mary Magdalene energy right here. She's always associated with the rose, the red rose, and I believe Mother Mary was associated with the white rose. So you've got this divine feminine energy really pulling up the side. And on the side that I associate with Ukraine, on this left side of the card is this card side that's speaking to me of Ukraine. This side is speaking to me of Russia. So on the Ukrainian side, you have a lot of divine feminine energy coming up to support it. You've got the cloak of Christ, although it's being borne by a woman. You've got Mary Magdalene's energy, who is the divine feminine to Christ's divine masculine. Now, this beautiful swirling energy is also talking about rooting in the chakras, red being the root chakra, the chakra that connects you to earth, to physical life, to what makes us human, what grounds us into being human. So she's got these beautiful spirals and lots of spiral energy here. So you've got the darkness outside of here. You've got the darkness on the inside spiraling out to become lighter as she evolves. So this is this is a human form. And the reason I'm saying that is the light on the inside, holding light on the inside, and which is allowing them to move through this space of darkness without being affected by it, is very much what this being here and this being here are doing. They are holding light outside of physical form. This being is in physical form, and they have that darkness as part of their human experience. They have collected pain, they have collected fear, and they've worked through it. So that darkness was on the inside, and as they move through their cycle, they become more light. So this very much feels like the hearts and the light workers that are here on the planet incarnated, rooting in the energy of the human experience, honoring that these souls are souls having a human experience on both sides of the battle. This is one of those circumstances where you can't just pray for one side because everyone is hurting. Nobody wins this. Nobody was going to win this from the beginning. The only people that believed they could were those power players at the top that felt that they could take. But at the lower levels, nobody ever wins. So this is speaking to rooting in and also unconditional love of the divine feminine. So unconditional love being above the heart chakra, this pink center that has really become prominent in spirituality in the last 20, 30 years, grounding into Gaia and opening up unconditional love for both sides of this battle, for the souls that are here experiencing it. It definitely is. There's more support right now on the Ukraine side, which makes sense. We need to make sure, because they are mirrored, we need to make sure that that energy and that love is going to both sides. It's our responsibility, if we are willing to see, if we are willing to seek and feel, that we acknowledge these souls on both sides of this battle. So while this energy is very strong over here on Ukraine side, the cloak of Christ is in the middle. So we need to make sure we honor both sides of this mirroring battle, where they're essentially facing their cousins, their family, their other selves on the side of the battlefield. Now, on Russia's side, we do have the divine feminine here on the side. We have old school patriarchy in here, and it's very cluttered. It's very dense. It's hard to pick one thing out because everything's calling your attention at the same time. That's very much what the energy feels like towards them, and on the inside. So we've got the internal circle being Russian ground and the souls that live within her. There's a lot of isolation. You've got these murky colors, fear, not being really able to ground in. Their chakras are all out of balance. Their energy is out of balance. And they're like dark, the human silhouettes are just dark blots in here. They are the only non-colored part of this. On the outside, you've got confusion and chaos on the outside as well, because people aren't sure how to feel about the Russian people. Again, aggressor versus victim. It's very hard to say that you see the sovereignty of both sides, that you feel the sovereignty and trust the sovereignty of both sides, instead of fear culture and hate shaping how you feel about one side or the other. So this external confusion, and it's funny, when I was when I thought about doing this episode on Ukraine a couple weeks ago, I tapped into the energy in a meditation, and I saw a dome over the area, as if it didn't want me to penetrate what was going on. We have a ton of circles in this area. So we've got the dome here, but also the dome around the Russian people. They're not only feeling cut off from each other, they're feeling cut off from the world, they're feeling misunderstood, they're not feeling supported, they're not getting the same information that the rest of the world is, just period. So all of it has led to this real desperation as a part of the people. And this dome that is around them, what is causing this dome? It's being caused by the people in power in that country, trying to isolate them so that they, quite frankly, so they don't wake up, so they don't evolve, so they don't start to question what is right or wrong about what their leaders are doing. People are much easier to control when they are fearful, when they are isolated, when they are emotional. Talked about that in the Puppet Master episode. They are very much in the hands of the puppet master. And you can even see one of the major players out here, this larger male figure here. He's both inside and outside of the dome. So very much aware of the false narrative and the false illusions, the illusions that he's pushing down to his people, the other souls in that area. Now, the feminine energy here coming from the side, this is the mirroring of our beautiful Mary Magdalene over here. This energy is present. This feminine energy is present. You can even see some of the same colors with the pinks in her hair. But she hasn't penetrated the dome yet. The dome around Ukraine, it's present, but in a different way. The dome I see is over all the contested areas. And it almost feels like it's trying to blind me. Don't see, don't know. This is the energy that will break through that illusion. So what's going on, what we're facing in the physical world here, both souls inside of those areas and souls outside watching this, is we're facing an as above, so below kind of mirroring. These areas in their evolutionary cycle are coming to the point where they can move forward or they can become stagnant. They've been stagnant in their evolutionary cycle, and the powers, the human powers that are using this to make themselves more money, give themselves more control, do not want their souls moving forward on either side. So they've created this blindness, fake information, false information, no information, essentially creating a dome of silence over their people, both on a conscious and unconscious level, which is stagnating the individual evolution. What that's doing to the outside souls, the outside entities, is we're having to face our own evolutionary cycle and our own stagnation as far as having compassion, as far as being ruled by fear, picking a side, vilifying, the victim and the villain. These are all archaic notions that we are having to come to terms with in a war that feels like it's from a different time period. It feels like this is a war that would have happened in the 1940s. It doesn't feel like something that would happen in the 2020s. And that's intentional because it's asking us to come to terms with something that we have not processed fully in our evolutionary growth. Internally, these people, these souls that are in there at the civilian level, being willing to follow, not questioning what doesn't feel right, allowing themselves to be blinded from the outside level, being willing to go along with the narrative of right and wrong, of duality, of black and white, of us versus them. These are all concepts that we can evolve out of. It is not us versus them. These groups on both sides are brothers. They're siblings. They're soul groups that have traveled together. They've mirrored each other's journeys. This is giving us an awakening call and asking us how we want to process something that feels so archaic, because it is. It's archaic because our souls no longer need to do this. We no longer need to pick sides. We no longer need to demify, that's not a word, vilify or make victims of people in these conflicts. We can choose to step back and see the sovereignties of the souls involved and feel compassion and love versus hatred. That's a really important lesson for us to learn from this. The powers in place in both of these countries, definitely more on the Russian side, you can see how adamant they are about not allowing their people to see. But that does exist on the Ukraine side too, not allowing their people to see the whole picture. Russia wants their people to be blind. Ukraine wants their people to be blind in many ways too. What is going to clarify that, what's coming in from the sides, certainly we've gotten more traction here, and we've got her, I mean, she's always present. We've got her just kind of sneaking in on the side, is this divine feminine energy. And not just the divine feminine energy of Mother Mary, that divine feminine mother, unconditional love on both sides, understanding, holding her children while they figure out their own journey, which is wonderful. This energy feels more like the divine feminine warrior woman. She's gone through her battles, she's collected her scars, she's worked through fear, and she's come out with unconditional love for self and for others, higher energy, higher connection with higher self. This Mary Magdalene energy coming in from the side over here, this is where the focus needs to be in order to support breaking up of this illusion. We have to do that for ourselves first, because we can't help them if we still believe one side is right and the other is wrong. And there's that chime letting you know that spirit agrees with me. We have to wrap ourselves in this cloak of Christ consciousness, acknowledge that these are souls, sovereign souls on both sides of this battle. You don't have to like them. That's not what I'm asking you to do. You don't have to agree with what they're doing. You have to acknowledge their sovereignty. And we can start to penetrate more on the Russian side for sure, to break up some of this energy, to help the souls incarnated there to feel connected and feel supported, which will allow them to come more towards this light. Because remember, I told you the fringes of both countries were not getting this light energy. They were feeling very lost in, like walking through a fog. We can help support that by bringing in that warrior energy, by wrapping ourselves in the Christ consciousness, in understanding, and bringing this higher unconditional love rooted in Mother Earth to both sides of the equation. Because even though this side has stronger unconditional love in Mary Magdalene energy, they are still moving at the same rate. They are so interconnected with each other that you're not going to be able to break Ukraine free and help them evolve without Russia evolving. It feels, and I'm waiting for Spirit to confirm this and tell me if I'm wrong. No, it feels like they have to move together. They have agreed. These are soul contracts. They've agreed through generations of back and forth conflict that they were going to continue to go like this until they were ready to let it go. And that karmic debt that they have collected over those generations is going to have to be released at the same time. One cannot release it without the other. That doesn't mean individual souls in here can't reach for the light and awaken, but the power on each side isn't it's necessary to move them through together. This definitely concerns me, how, and I can feel the pain, how lost the people are over here on the Russian side. And while Ukraine absolutely has that energy too, this is so intentionally isolated and intentionally ignorant and silent and blinded. So we need to bring light and understanding to them. So I'm going to leave those cards up there, and I just want to do a quick heart centering meditation to balance these energies and bring some of this over to here and see if we can just lighten up this energy a little bit. So settle into your space. Take a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. In through the nose and out through the mouth. We call in the energy of Mary Magdalene, divine feminine, the warrior essence. Bring your focus down to your root chakra. Feel that red ball of light as it cleanses and spins, sending a ribbon of red light down into the core of Mother Earth, connecting into her center, grounding in the energy of the divine feminine. We call up unconditional love from the heart of Mother Earth up through this ribbon into our root chakra, moving up through the solar plexus, through the sacral, all the way up into the heart. Feel that energy pull above the heart chakra into the center of unconditional love. About an inch or two above your heart chakra, this beautiful pink energy starts to combine with the red of the root. Allowing your unconditional love to expand, pushing out of your body, going out of your home, expanding all the way up to the Christ consciousness grid. Feel as this unconditional love clicks into the Christ consciousness, making the grid glow brighter, allowing you to see the whole world bathing in this beautiful pink. Each soul that connects into this heart space, reaching up to the grid, visualizes ribbons of light from all over the world connect up into the Christ consciousness, adding their love, adding their sovereignty. Looking down on the earth from this space of higher truth. Visualize the land above. Looking down on the borders of Russia, Ukraine, looking down onto this dome that covers these areas, blinding their people, blinding the outside. Visualize as your light energy moves down to this dome, bathing it in pink, unconditional love. Witness as it penetrates the dome, breaking it open, inch by inch, watching the particles of the dome drift away like smoke. Keep your focus on this area. Continue to break down this dome. Now see where the dome connects to earth. We bring our light to these areas to dissolve the roots of this dome, to pull any hooks out of Mother Earth, and to fill the spaces where they had gouged into her soil with light. Oh, feel as the dome lifts away, continuing to dissolve in our light until it is nothing but a memory. Bring your focus back to all the beings of light who live in these areas. Every soul incarnated in these spaces. All the souls that have been incarnated in the past who have left their energy and their karmic debts. See them as pins of light across the land. Call down the Christ consciousness energy. Call down the golden energy of the Christ consciousness mixed with the beautiful pink unconditional love. Connecting to each being of light. See as these ribbons of energy move through each being of light, connecting to their heart space, raising their frequency, opening their eyes. Let these beings know that they are loved, they are seen, they are held in the energy. Send forth messages of unconditional love. Acknowledge their sovereignty. These beautiful souls having a human experience. Allow your unconditional love to continue working in this area, tying off like pink ribbons in the air. Allowing the Christ consciousness to use that energy as it needs to expand the light, to expand awakening and awareness. Feel that sense of pride and mission for bringing your warrior spirit to this place, for being what they needed you to be at this moment. You are a warrior of light. And we honor you for your service. Now begin to bring your consciousness back from the Christ grid, back into the room where you're sitting, and back into your body. Begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes. When you're ready, open your eyes. Thank you for bringing such powerful energy to that area. I could feel the dome being dissolved. And there will be energy that tries to bring it back. So continue to focus on Christ consciousness, that beautiful part of the cloak of Christ, and that badass warrior energy of unconditional love. This entire area, not one side, needs our energy and our light. When they talk about we are a one, it's a message of spirituality that all souls are really one. We're made up of connected energy. There is no difference. This is a beautiful example of that. These two nations of souls mirroring each other's evolution. And coming to this catalyst moment to figure out if they're ready to evolve. If we're all ready to evolve, all of us. If we're ready to look at them differently than we have in the past. If we're ready to look at ourselves differently than we have in the past. But thank you so much for bringing your energy to this. This is a really powerful reading. And the area feels lighter. I hope you feel that too. If you do, please let me know in the comments what you saw in your meditation, what you get in your dreams over the next couple days. And join the community if this stuff resonates with you. We need light workers to work now. It's the time for us to stand up and do what we have been training for. So until next time, beautiful warriors, love and light.